Hello, y'all. How's it going? It is Monday, and we're here to do something different from usual. Um, for the last, for the last 4 years, I've been working on this super world, and about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, finished it. Uploaded the last level, updated the super world and all, and, put it out into the wild in full, I guess, technically. Well, every level went up individually over that time. Many revisions were made. Yeah, let's just go into make mode, and we won't have to deal with that there timer. Many revisions were made, things changed. At some points the rate of levels made went down precipitously. At some points, I thought I would be done in 2023, and I had perfectly good reason to think I would be, considering that, well, if I'm being honest here, the last world kind of took up, most of the time. I think the seventh world was done in 2023, and 2024 was slow for reasons, and now finally the final level is out, now here in 2025, which is a nice feeling. What we're gonna do tonight is I'm gonna play through it, plain and simple. I'm gonna play through it, getting every 10 coin in the super world, and also I'm gonna time myself to see how long it takes. You see, one of the gimmicks of the super world is that it's called Waluigi's Triple Threat. I took off the Mario Country part, by the way. Waluigi's Triple Threat is good enough of a name, I think, on its own. Should have taken your time on your own super worlds. Yeah, that's a curious thing. And I'll say the gimmick of the super world, part of the gimmick, is that, as far as Waluigi goes, is that, you are, in theory, as you're playing the super world, racing Waluigi. What does that mean? Well, this playthrough that I'm about to do tonight is going to set a time, and that time will forever be considered Waluigi's time for anyone to try to shoot for. Now, I did consider at some point, maybe even last week, maybe on the Friday stream, I did say that I was going to, let's do multiple attempts. Let's optimize. Let's do get until I do a good time. But really, this is just a time to shoot for fun. And I feel like, as the person who made it, my first time through it is probably going to be hard to beat on average. Play as Luigi. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Thank you for the character redemption thing. Yes, this is, that is a suitable character to play as, Lord Bowser. Anyway, we're gonna play through it once. I'm gonna talk through, inspiration, thought process, design, that sort of thing. And, we might touch on a few other topics like, I still have to make the trailer, what levels are going into the trailer. I have some idea. I have a short list on my phone, which I think we'll show at the end. I'll just pull up the document, and we'll have a look at the document, which, by the way, we can go into the history of the document and see that it started in 2020, which is an interesting fact. Of course, the actual levels that work didn't start until 2021, so, I was working on other levels up to that point, so it's not exactly that the super world is 5 years old, but certainly planning began around May 2020, so that's fun, that's interesting. A lot of the worlds already had their names in 2020, and some of the levels, though not as many as I perhaps thought. A lot of things changed over time. Things got hammered out, figured out, whole things got thrown out, whole things got switched out. It's a whole thing. And, yeah. I'll also say before we begin, yes, I have been up to stuff this weekend. I have seen many anime, old ones and new ones. I have been playing some games that are cool. And I pulled out a 3DS and started playing some random DS games apropos of nothing. That'll be something you'll hear about on Friday. I started rewatching Kill la Kill. That's good shit. What else? What else? There's some other stuff that now that I'm going through as a list, I'm forgetting. I watched the episode of Succession where there's the bachelor party and the line, so I hear, Greg tells me you swallowed your own load. Yeah, I did. That line gets uttered. That's just, I can't stop thinking about that line. It's very funny to me, that whole scene. I watched Starship Troopers. I've had a weekend. This is all you're gonna hear about it, though. Up top. Mostly we're gonna be on topic today, I think. Is there anything else I want to say about my weekend before we begin? No? I'm gonna say no. Oh, one more thing. I've realized today that I do have time Wednesday morning. I don't have a meeting like right after the direct by sheer coincidence. So like let's do a direct stream on Wednesday. I'm gonna get up early. I'm gonna set up. I'm gonna stream my reactions to the direct. This is probably gonna be like one of the most important directs of the next couple years. So why not? Let's do it. You're gonna do it as well, Lord Bowser? Hell yeah. Let's all have our reactions recorded in perpetuity. That seems like a good thing. Look forward to that. I'm also gonna get I got a LASIK consultancy tomorrow morning, and I might try to get LASIK scheduled for next week, which might push some streams around. We'll see. We'll see about that. Anywho, I think that's more than enough, like, beating around the bush. Yeah, it is an issue. Getting up early is a struggle for me as well. No, you didn't miss it, Scott Meyer. We are just beginning. Getting up early is something that, I struggle with as well. Okay, let's begin. I am going to get my hand on the timer thing and start the timer. Does it look nice? I set it up in a rush right before I actually went live. In fact, actually, right after I went live. People watching live, and not on the YouTube VOD, saw me fiddle around with the timer thing for 10 minutes. That's a thing. Here's the situation. I'm gonna play through the super world. Every 10 coin, every 30 coin, every 50 coin must be collected. 1-up mushrooms optional. 1-up mushrooms optional. I'm gonna play through, we're gonna time it, and when we finish, that's it. Okay? Ready? Timer's going. Let's go. With the first level, Mischief Mesa. Alright, and let's figure out how we're going to, like, talk things over as we go. Here's my basic thought. Let's just talk about things on a level-by-level basis. What sort of inspiration, what sort of ideas I had. One of the biggest ones for this was that I wanted to make a 1-1 that was, like, memorable and stuff. Already off to a great start here. A 1-1 that was, like, memorable and stuff, and the struggle with those is that a 1-1, by its nature, has to be somewhat generic. Somewhat easy. And I decided to look to the original DKC for inspiration, and the thing I realized that DKC1 does, and in fact all the DKCs do, is that Rambi is in it, and Rambi is a little bit of spice. And, that's why the pillbox is a big part of this level, because the pillbox is like your Rambi. That's why you have a gun in this. The gun is Rambi. Also, I decided it would be fun to, in order to make the difficulty not so difficult, make it so that, instead of pits, there were, yellow spike blocks. So that, it would be not so difficult. Also, because there's like a floor, the whole level takes place in the upper half of the map, which in 3D World means that you're sort of looking at the background from above. That was sort of my, like, a ways to make it feel like it was high up. Make it feel like you're high up in this level. You can see that the skybox is constantly sky and kind of looking down on everything. You'll love the sky illusion now that you see it. Yeah, totally. I love it too. Yeah. It's a cool thing you can do to give your level, like, a little bit of flavor. And, you know, as you can see here, it is literally on top of a hill, a plateau, so it makes sense. Level 2, Crumble Rumble. This was actually the first level that got made. This was actually the first one that broke ground back in 2021, and I still think it's one of the best of all time. Its gimmick is that these thwomps, you know, break apart the paths that you have to platform on. Also, as you, they're, like, slowed down just a tick by springs that, can stop them and maybe modulate the speed at which, it goes through, which I thought was cool. I'm aware that this is a harder level than the last one. It's kind of hard for 1-2, but my thought process there was that Ropey Rampage is pretty hard, actually, 1-2 of Donkey Kong Country. And, you know, taking that into account, I figured that, like, yeah, let's make this one a little challenging, a little tough. But I do think it's very doable, and the clear rate is like 15%, last I saw. So it's not, like, super duper hard. It's just, you know, for a 1-2, it's like, not messing around, you know. And there are things that sort of, like, what's the word? Oh, fuck, I didn't get the... That's a problem. I need to get every one of these, so I need to get it that way. The intended way to get that is to take a shell and throw it upwards. Perhaps, honestly, maybe the most unintuitive coin in the super world. That one. It's very easy to forget and not, like, do what you need to do that. I love that bit right there where you have nowhere to go and you just have to wait. That's a good bit. Important thing to me is that these levels are filled with, like, you know, tight platforming and all that, challenges, but also memorable moments and sequences that make you go, ooh, even if they're not really that hard. Sequences that are just, like, a little, memorable is a word I think about a lot. Third level, let's go. It's Fossil Fracas. Fossil Fracas, Grand Gulley is... I didn't say the name of the world, did I? It's Grand Gulley. This is, Fossil Fracas. The idea of Grand Gulley is that it's all like, you know, a river basin, so a little bit more like, what's the word? Less arid than your usual desert. Also, I gave the player some stuff to break so that the dry bones had time to spawn. There, that was the idea there. This level, the basic plan, the basic, like, inspiration, was to try to make a rigging level. A level that is sort of the archetype of rigging DKC2. Oh, Rock Party wants to see Toadette. Okay, after this level, we will do Toadette. These character switches... You know what? Let's just keep it as Luigi. I mean, I think that the character swapping is really intended for the viewer level streams. I think Luigi is just too thematic for this. How about we just keep it as Luigi, Rock Party? Cool with that? I should have disabled that, but I didn't. Oh well. I mean, I do think it's a great idea to play as Luigi in particular, so... How about we just keep this going? Also, you know... I don't want to be stopping so much to, like, change characters. You know, we're on the clock here. Anyway, liked all these, like, pokey stuff, where the pokies are moving around, you have to dodge them while platforms are moving them back and forth. I will refund you on that, Lord Rock Party. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, I'll be on it. After the stream. I think this level, to me, captures the rigging aesthetic, the rigging, like, you know, I think with, like, design archetypes in DKC, a lot of them have very unique languages. Very unique, like, design language, and I think this level hits that. Remind me tomorrow, refund Rock Party, Toadette Redemption. There we go. Cool, cool. Finally, we have, what is this? Capstone Cyclone? Random Trivia Time 2. Favorite animal? I don't know. Gorillas? I like DKC a lot. Gorillas, crocodiles are cool. Capstone Cyclone, let's go. Is that a Super Paper Mario reference? I just thought it was some words that sounded nice together. And it's sort of the end of the world, so that makes sense. Here, the gimmick is that it's a wind level, and you're sort of running against the wind for most of it. Also, you got these, like, tornado guys that lift the enemies up onto the platform with you, so that they can give you a hard time. There's also these moving treadmills that resist the wind a little bit and give you some places to run, like, with it. Also, you can fly. The idea is that once you get to the end, you get the key, you get, like, a cape, and you fly all the way back to the thing, you know, nice and fast. Yours is a fox? Oh, that's nice. Fox McCloud is cool as well. You get a cape and you fly the way back, and now, in the second half, you know, a couple new things are introduced. Most notably, the red things are faster. Also, gotta deal with these guys whilst, you know, making sure not to die. A little bit of a theme here in the first world is, like, enemies taking up the whole platform, like a bunch of Galoombas on a thing. There was a little bit of that in the first level as well. In the super world, I do like there to be patterns and, like, commonalities between the worlds, and sometimes, you know, that means, like, enemies used in multiple levels of a world. In other cases, it's like, oh, the coins are kind of arranged in similar patterns in this world, in patterns they're not necessarily seen in elsewise. You know, one might look at it and go like, why is the coin usage so across the board? And it's like, to me, it's a matter of just like, every world has its own personality, you know? Every world has its own personality as far as the coins go, right? Like, the pirate world, right, has a whole abundance of coins, as does the last world, the bonus world. And, you know, other worlds perhaps a little more restrained, weirder patterns, bigger fields, different shapes, all in a way trying to give personality to it. Hey, this will be a quick one, and one that I have to talk about really fast. Originally I was going to do bosses for every one of the worlds, but then I quickly decided, no, yeah, no toad hosses. Mainly because I was trying to make, like, DKC-styled boss levels, you know, just like, here's a boss, fight him, you're done. And then I realized they didn't really like that very much, so I switched it to be these 20-second speedrun levels, where the idea is you can beat them in 20 seconds or less. And they sort of have a clear condition to them. You pass the flagpole, so it tells you what the clear condition is before you go into the rest of the level. You know, it flashes it big on screen, makes it real obvious, and it's just a bit of fun. And 5 of the worlds end with those. One of them has a boss rush of 3 bosses that are also can be beaten in 20 seconds or less, and around 20 seconds each. and the other two are like climactic, you know, end of Super World business, so they're actual levels, or slash with actual boss fights in them, you know, they're full things. Wind Up Woods. We're on to Wind Up Woods now. Wind Up Woods is... The theme of Wind Up Woods is woods and also the Mecha Koopas. Fun fact, this is actually the first time I used Mecha Koopas in a level. I didn't manage to fit them into any of my levels before the Super World, so one of the big agendas of this world was to really just get some usage out of them. Also, hey, you can tell this is a beehive. The biggest inspiration there, then, was DKC2's beehive levels with, you know, climbable walls, that sort of business. But also a little bit of DKC3 with, like, the tree levels. With, you know, like, where you're going up a shaft on one side of the tree, and then you cross to the other side. You cross to the other side to like, do more platforming on the other end. Cannon into Cloud illusion. I forget what that's referring to. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe on the overworld, you mean. Yeah, gotcha. Anyway. Yep. Nice vertical level. Second of the Super World. I always feel like, you know, it is good to have a good balance of like, vertical levels versus horizontal. A nice variety thereof. And, you know, that sort of thing. Another thing that's worth noting of this world. Big theme here is, like, brambles. One of the things I wanted to use to keep the difficulty down in these first two worlds is not having pits at all times. Instead, just having, like, spikes that make for a non-lethal sort of situation, right? A non-lethal sort of death. And, you know, it's sort of the biggest point here in Bonehead Preamble. But, you know, that was this world's way of keeping the difficulty down a bit. Last world also had a lot of, like, spikes where there could have been pits. And, you know, that's just this world's way of, like, mitigating difficulty just a bit. There's also a little bit of, yeah, Cloud World later on makes sense to have pits, that's correct. There's also a little bit of, hey, check this out. Really nicely hidden 50 coin right here. Isn't that nice? I need this thingamajig. The big gimmick here, which is important to note, is not only that it's a hybrid water level, but also that you're standing on these boneheads, as they're called, and eventually they launch off by standing on them for long enough. And you see here, there's some that you don't want to step on because they will launch you where you don't want to go, which is bad. They'll launch you right into the brambles, which is a fun twist for the second half of the level. I think this level is like one of my top favorites. Definitely was for definitely one of the World 2s I'm most proud of. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Frosted Forest up next. That one is like God tier. No, that if you remember Frosted Forest, you know that one's just like there's levels that are just really well designed and really fun, and there's levels where it's like, oh, this was like a bit of a thing to figure out for reasons. And the next one is that. Wonderful, wonderful. Alright. So, interesting thing about the forest is that it does have an ice level in Frosted Forest, and a lot of work went into this one. A lot of work went into Frosted Forest, which I have extolled the virtues of on stream many a time, so people might know already from the, like, probably half dozen times I brought it up and been like, oh, check this out, you know, during the last call or whatever. During my streams, I often, like, end a stream, or, like, you know, before I close the queue, I'll play some of my own levels. I'll say for now, we should probably focus on non-Super World levels, and also maybe just do them one at a time for a bit. We don't need to necessarily, like, you know, this whole dedicated stream situation kind of makes it so that, we don't have to do that many more of my levels regularly, like. It's a climbing level where you have a spike hat, and the spike hat is really good against the guys. There's also some light falling, and, you know, some very beautiful aesthetics. I've made trees from the ice platforms, the ice semi-solids, which is nice. There's also a twist. There's some, like I said, some blue platform business, as well as some whole parts where there's just, like, tons of, whatchamacallits, spike taps going in circles. That's kind of a connection between this level and, 2-1, the spike tops. A lot more connections in the earlier levels to, later levels in the same world. And here's the twist. After the whole level, like, never giving any indication of verticality, and indeed doing some clever illusions to make it seem like there was more than 2 screens of horizontal, wiggle room in the subworld here, it's revealed to be a vertical level by a big drop sequence, and then a big, climb. Also, that room was very much inspired by Chain Link Chamber. If you know Chain Link Chamber, you might know the room. Very much the same idea, just climbing and a bunch of guys going in circles. Except that you can go up. If you ever finish your World 1 demo, would you play it on stream? Yeah, on the viewer level streams. Those are on Fridays. Roberts, yes. Feel free to come by on Friday once you have that ready to go. Frosted Forest is, yeah, I use some doors and some places where previous parts of the levels are, like, recreated on the other side of a wall to make it look like the level is, contiguous, where it's actually a door taking you from the top side to the bottom in some cases. Also, in some cases, you're at the, you know, at the top. Only when you're at the bottom can there be a pit, so that's the one time where there's a pit in the subworld. And, the one time there's a ceiling, or around the checkpoint, is the one time where you're actually at the top of the stage. Some real fucking trickery goes into that. We need to remember to get every 10 coin. If we forget, I will be very embarrassed. Also, how are we gonna know? Yes, that's right. This is Bonsai Bog, a bullet bill heavy swamp where you're jumping in between, bullet bills, and also, some bonsai bills appear. Their name's in the level. Of course they were going to. There's also skull rafts that go the wrong way, which is a bit of fun. And, you got the cape, which is a good power-up. And there's some brambles that, like, cut up the stage in interesting ways. This is probably, like, one of the most stages that's, like, most struggling for real estate. You know, that part at the right before I went into the door, that was very much reusing, the space very efficiently. And here, even, there's this room. And then there's this room, which is located underneath the previous room. You can sort of see, like, some ghosts up there from that previous room. The bonsai bills are slowed down by the slime, so that's fun. They're like, slowed down a bit. Also, the, platforms that the bullet bills are on are obscured by the muck as well. Some very nice theming in there. I think, inspiration was very much from, like, DKC2 swamp levels. So yeah, you know, it's a forest, but it's got a swamp, it's got frozen bits, it's got beehives, and yeah, a little bit of basic forest. And then it ends on, Mecha Maelstrom, which is another, 20-second level that you can do in 20 seconds. Let me do it in 20 seconds and show you real fast. In this case, the gimmick is that you have to stand on the blue platforms to, like, get them to go down. Also, you're, like, maneuvering around dudes and using your spike helmet to, deal with just, like, a barrage of nonsense. There we go, 20 seconds. You can see there, we got 80. How's the timer positioned, by the way? The timer is positioned well, right? I see it has a little bit of an outline, but only when we fade to black, so... whatever, that's like, fine. Timers are... it's hard to do that right. Whatever, that's fine. Fear Forge 1, Catwalk Capers. This was the first world, the first level even, that was made on stream. Because when this level was in production, that's when I streamed for the first time, back in the end of 2021. So, you know, interesting point in history, I guess. I'll say, like, those VODs are all gone by now. They were not archived. I only started archiving a little after that. Hey, there's the 50. I only started archiving a little after that. And, you know, as a result, it's not there. The gimmick here is that there's all these, like, these like, Koopa shells, right? And you can fire them down. Oftentimes they're like spawning, or, you know, you can just get them from Koopas. And you can throw them to clear the way of Hammer Bros, who are, of course, a tough enemy. The idea there was like, oh, if I give them a supply of Koopas, I can put a bunch of really tough enemies that are difficult to deal with. Also, you can see that the claws are set up in a way that they are set up where they grab the shell, making it so that it lands. So you can re-grab it and throw it again. Also, there's like a note block with on-off stuff, sort of inspired by like, what is that level in DKC? The Oil Drum Alley? Oil Drum Alley. Sort of an Oil Drum Alley segment. That is quite lovely. Ooh, and also you can see that there it's catwalks. That's the theming. You can see that there's like the catwalks are hanging from the ceiling off those like mushroom stalks. That's the gimmick. Catwalk Capers is a hell of a stage. Has a lot of ideas, I'll say. Big thing that goes into my design process is that I believe every level needs more than one idea. Needs like several ideas interplaying with each other. And that's kind of a great example. There's kind of not enough time in the level itself to explain everything going on in the level itself. You know? Here's, Smokestack Attack. Now, this is a name that I wanted to do since Mario Maker 1. Originally, I had an idea for Smokestack Attack in, like, a super world I was working on back in Mario Maker 1, where it was going to be in, like, the cruise ship world. Ended up here in the industrial world of, Fear Forge. I didn't say the name of Fear Forge, did I? Yeah! First death. That's fine. That's right, we're on Fear Forge and have been for a bit. So, it's a Yoshi level, first off, this first half, and you can see that there's all sorts of, like, smokestacks that are billowing out the platforms that we're platforming across. Excellent. Also spitting out some enemies as well, which is fun. There's some parts where you have to jump through, like, gaps of Goombas. Also, it's a good thing I remember that that 50 coin is there, because I would hate to miss it. Woo! Yes, yes, count the deaths, count the deaths. Please. Here, you can't take Yoshi anymore, and it becomes a flying level for the second half. A good old-fashioned, like, squawk shaft situation, where you're going up through the clouds, and the smokestack sort of frame it nicely. Big innovation here when I was making. I figured out that I can put the smokestacks coming out of the clouds, and that makes it so that you can go left and right again without it being a contradiction, you know. You can go under the smokestacks, and it's like, you know, it's maybe not the most realistic thing in the world, but it works. Kinda, physically, as far as the design goes. And that's convenient for so many purposes, you know? You know, that you can go left and right. It'd be weird if it was just a straight, progression. There's a secret over here, right? Oh, no, it's just a 1-up. Okay, we don't need 1-ups. That's important to remember. We're going for 100% coins. We don't need 1-ups. I'll also say, you know, if y'all want to try to beat this time, feel free to do it without going for the coins. You know, yeah, feel free to not go for the coins, and that, you know, consider that my handicap here, that I have to get every coin. Yes, Corn, it's on a Monday. I'm doing my own super world. This'll probably be, at this rate, we're about, like, middle of World 3. We're 30 minutes in. Probably, like, 2 hours tops. Yeah. And then we're gonna end, by the way. We're gonna end. I'm not gonna do, like, multiple runs. This one is the run. Okay? Automation Station, it's a big one. This is one of the probably most impressive gimmicks of the Super World, I think. First off, you got these, like, you know, obviously you already saw what was the gimmick, but also you got these, like, ant guys going back and forth, and sometimes their movement is quite interesting. Also, you jump on these bombs and they set off, like, whole, like, chains of platforms that are interesting to navigate and, you know, go over the lava. Goody, everyone, yes! Here, I wanted to make it so that if you wanted the, thing, you kinda had to go high, and then you have to sort of trust that, like, yeah, I remember where the bomb is. It was down there. I can land on it successfully. Also, you got these sequences where you're, like, jumping on a whole bunch of bombs in a row. Thrilling, indeed. Dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Fire Bros, a big part of this level. Thought they were a nice enemy to also complement it. Groups of enemies going in threes. Also, see here, this is the same geometry as the start of the level, the first time those guys appear. That's a fun fact for you. You know, sometimes level design, you know, it's like poetry, it rhymes. You know, that old, like, George Lucas chestnut. Sometimes it's like poetry, it's, it rhymes. Yeah! Woohoo and all. That's right, Luigi. Get excited, get excited. I might show the document, like the document that I have. Maybe just on my phone. I'm not even gonna do it on the computer this time. Bitty Buds were in 3D World for how you use those ants. I don't remember Bitty Buds. Hey, it's Red Girder Gala. This is a very impressive level from a theming standpoint. One of the most themed levels in the Super World. The basic gimmick is that it's like Red Girders, and also, you get the Super Ball, and you can use that to, like, collect some stuff. The way back opens on the way back so that you can backtrack if you want, if you missed a red coin earlier, because they are required. Colorful flying buds? Oh! Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, they're sort of iconic of, like, a 3D world. That would be a good pick. with this, a lot of like experimentation. A lot of experimentation went into every level, but basically the upshot is like, oh, low gravity for enemies is actually great for Super Ball because it means that things that are jumping jump very slowly, jump very like deliberately, and are very nice to shoot down with the Super Balls. Like feels real damn good. There's some bouncy business and a little bit of a path divergence situation where you can go left or right. One of the big ideas here with this level is that left and right have different enemies. Left tends more towards the Goombas, and right tends more towards the fishes. Though there is like a couple of fishes and a couple of Koopas on either other side. Also, bloopers appear as like a major mix-up here. There we go. Again, a lot of good, like, target practice to be had here. And also, you get a boot when you finish your first route. I made the keys more foolproof in the latest revision of this, so that they can't be missed, you know, you just have to go either side. As a result, it hasn't gotten as many plays as it once did, but that's fine, it'll be fixed eventually. There's a secret down here. Well, I say a secret. I decided to be nice and make it so if you get through the rest of the level, you get like a little bit of a saving grace there. But there's not actually a collectible or anything, so we don't have to actually show it. Also, it's a gala, so it's sort of a celebration. The music kind of works for that, and also there's fireworks everywhere as a result. It's like the grand opening of this whole construction site, even though it's still in the girder phase. Hey, here's a big high concept one at the end of World 3 Fear Forge. It's To and Fro Factory. To and Fro Factory is a green banana bonus. Here, you have to go left and right and collect every coin as they come, and you can see as you pick up the coins, another one spawns in on the other side, and also an enemy comes up to fight you, and you can immediately kill them really quickly. And, you know, it's a 20-second level, so you dispatch them fast, get the coins, get to the end, bing, bang, boom, 20 seconds, in and out. To and Fro Factory. One of my favorites. Probably like one of the more inspired names of the super world. Hello, Luigi. I love how accurate, how apt that name is. Yeah. World 4, Pirates Peak. Woo, 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 woo. That's right, it's Pirates Peak. Pirates Peak, the gimmick is, that it's both a snow level and an airship. A snow world and an airship world. This, first level is just, snow. I feel like it's at this point that the worlds start getting a little more high concept, you know? Not that deserts that's slightly less arid is low concept, not that like, oh, you know, the industrial level, the industrial world has like all sorts of things in it. It's not low concept at all. Wind Up Woods has a good variety of stuff that you could see in the woods, but this one's like, nah, it's a combination of two weird ideas. Airships and snow. Because, of course, airships can dock high up because they can fly. That's sort of their whole gimmick. Also, this level is based around these bombs, and also you can hit some on-offs to, like, platform more efficiently or whatever. There's bombs that break up, like, the platforms that you mean to platform over. Some minor backtracking to make it so that you have to, like, you know, return through places that the bombs have, like, had chance to fuck up. You know what I mean? A big inspiration here, especially in the second half, which you see, like, makes it into a P-switch race situation, was Clapper's Cavern. Clapper's Cavern? Clapper's Cavern from DKC2. Very much the same sort of like, oh, you know, you hit a switch, you run across a way. Also, there's an optional on-off that just makes this a little bit easier. Very hard working with P blocks, making it so that, you know, the coins are in one place, like, good enough for platforming, in another place, good enough for, like, running across as coins to collect. You know, whatever. Real fun one. I really like the way I really like the way that those, like, bombs, you know, wherever you kill them, makes the gaps in different places every time. I think that's real damn neat. And, yeah. I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot tonight, but this one, Pirates Peak 2, Frigid Frigate. This is one of the, this is one of the best levels of the Super World, I think. This is, I think, one of the more interesting ones, I guess I'll say, insofar as it does something that I think I haven't done in any other level, which is that this one has multiple ideas that it plays around with. In the above ground parts, it's outside the ships, and the gimmick is sort of like, oh, you bounce off of the bombs and, you know, cannons, and carefully make your way forward. Meanwhile, when you go inside, there's all these icicles, and you have to just run as fast as you can under a hail of icicles, you know? So it's sort of... The overworld is a little bit more deliberately paced, and the underworld is very, like, super fast-paced, and I think playing around with these two different pacings was pretty fun as a thing for this level to do. I'm curious what we'll get at the Direct. I'm gonna react to it, I'm gonna stream it, I'm gonna get up early. Whole 9. Small thing here that I don't really need to show, but I will anyway. If you need an extra power-up, you can engage with those bullet bills or cannonballs to get it a little extra early. How long did it take? Well, the whole Super World was in development for 4 years, so around 4 years, but the first 7 worlds were done, like, at the end of the second year, so really there was just some... At the end of 2023, so I did slow down a bit. I did have some, like, stuff going on in 2024. You know, like, work stuff, vacation stuff. Kind of makes sense that that year just, went slowly. A little bit of a final survival sequence, and then you can end it. That's Wednesday. Wednesday morning is the real Nintendo Direct. Game? There we go. Frigid Frigate is a, hell of a level. Was earlier called, Hail Harrier. That didn't stand. That, got thrown out a while ago. It's, like, really early in the morning. It's, like, 8 a.m. Central Time. Here's Plunder Blunder. Another one of those levels that is hell of impressive. This one takes place on a mountain, but, moreover, it really takes place inside the mountain. This is a downhill level where, you have to find keys to progress, and also, the theming is sort of like a pirate's, horde. And also you're dealing with stuff like, oh, you know, gotta avoid these spiked whipsqueaks, whilst also, like, you know, killing them on occasion. Killing the one that's not, spiky specifically. These ones fall with you, which is fun. there's a little bit of sliding, which I'll admit is an underused thing in my super world and hell, most super worlds. And, yeah. What are my thoughts on Tomodachi Life? I didn't play the first one, the previous one, so, I'm not really that excited, but, you know, it is a wacky, fun thing, and, for those who are excited, I'm happy for them. How about that? You go outside the mountain for a little bit, and, you know, there's enough space in the overworld where it can just be like, the pit is the wall. I don't need any wall other than the pits. I need to get that 30 coin. On the wrong side for that. I'm not gonna see the Minecraft movie, no. Here you can't get those ones, so all you can do is go outside, and when you go outside, you'll find like, oh, there's some stuff outside. You know, one quick outside sequence to really end the level on. And then you get, a POW helmet, which, you know, will be able to, deal with those guys who are otherwise unkillable. And, after you come on the way back, if you don't have a POW, you can get one from the red thing. Also, you get one when you enter this room. It's foolproof, don't worry. And you get, like, the final pirate horde. Yee. You have a feeling it'll be in your top 10 worst movies? I can see that. Plunder Blunder, hell of a level. Next is Bitter Boatyard. Bitter Boatyard, everyone. Bitter Boatyard's pretty cool. Inspiration here. Was there... I should be thinking if there's any DKC, like, inspiration for any of these as we're going. But I think the main inspiration for this one was just like, let's make a level where, you can break up the level as you go. Also, I put those question mark blocks there just to stall the player a bit, so that, those guys had time to pop out and platform over them. Also, check this out. Hidden 50 coin by doing some 1-2 type bullshit. You know, some 1-2 stuff. A big theme of this level was, like, destructible stuff, right? Making it so that, like, oh, you know, you get some power-ups and then you're just like a bull in a china shop. You're just a bull in a china shop. That's right, this is World, 4. No, there's no secret exits in these levels. Not really, no, that's not, the kind of... DKC doesn't have those. And, you know, it's not like Mario Maker supports it either, really. Here, the whole ceiling is breakable, so you can just literally break up as much of the ceiling as you want. Here also, you can jump off that to get those guys. You gotta be careful here with the platforms, because they will break under you. But, try to make it so that there's always a good place to land. Excellent. DKC better than Mario? Well, I started with DKC, so, like, the DKC was my first game that I ever loved, so, like, I'm biased, but yes! Yes, I do think that, DKC trilogy, on the whole, better than any Mario game? DKC 2, any 2D Mario game. DKC 2 is, like, my favorite game of all time. Tied with Mario Odyssey, so, you know, take that as you will. And 1 and 3 are no slouch either. They are, damn good. Though I wouldn't put 2 games from the same series in a top 10 list next to each other. That'd be silly. Oh, I put the timer where the red coins are. I'm just noticing that now. Hey, this is, Figurehead Fuss. this silly crew. The description of this level says, like, this silly crew has 3 captains. Teach them all who's boss. And you do in these boss fights that can each be done in 20 seconds. In this one, you jump up and down and deal with spikes. And also, Tropical Freeze is also really great. Yeah, that's also up there. Spikes and Monty Moles, who are a bit chaotic. Those fellas. Next, these guys rain Spinies and Koopas on you. And you can defend from the spikies using your hat or the shells. And you just sort of have to do some... throw the shells around a bit. Then you get a guy that allows you to fly up and take care of the actual big bad, the Big Monty Wreck-It Ralph. Wrenchy Ralph. What the fuck? Finally, there's a flying boss here. Against, where you're in a clown car and all. And you just have to shoot a few targets. I put the letter Y in coins in case anyone doesn't know which button to use, but, that does it, and then you, shoot into the hole, and then you're done. This was a fun one, and the idea here... I'll say, originally, Pirate's Peak was gonna be World 3, and it got moved to World 4 because I wanted it to sort of be like the big middle, right? Like the boss in the very middle of the super world, right? Or at the very least halfway through, roughly, including all 8 worlds. Not counting the bonus, this 8th world as a bonus world separately, which I do advise, by the way. Play all the way to World 8, do the whole thing. That's any percent. It's World 5, it's Coastal Cup. Anyway, that one was cool. Coastal Cup. This is a fun idea. Pirate's Peak had to move to number 4. Coastal Cup is the 5th world, and in every level the Mario Kart music is playing because it is a racetrack world. And indeed, each of these levels actually has their own par time, similar to how the super world as a whole will do. And, you know, that's just a bit of fun. How, like, you can maybe shoot for a time here if you really wanted to on a level-by-level basis, and it makes sense because of the racetrack theming. You got Nintendo today? Excellent. Hey, Trainer Derek, how you doing? That's right, Red Yoshi. There's also the Cheep Cheeps, and, you know, that makes it feel a little bit fishy, having the Cheep Cheeps here. Also, moving unstable platforms. Did I mention the boosty boosts? There's some boosty boosts. There's whole, like, towers of spikes who are a real threat. Oh, I'm low on health here. Whatever. We're gonna do fine. Here, this 10 coin, this 30 coin is, like, not really that difficult, except that it gives the fist the time to rally and become a nuisance, which, you know, can be a problem. I feel like usually when I'm at this point in the level, I have, like, power-ups and stuff. I also wanted to make a level that was just like a mushroom, a bunch of mushrooms, you know, like in that classic Mario tradition. And, indeed, this level is just all mushrooms and, stuff over a pit. I feel like is fun for the first, like, tropical level. Islands have mushrooms, it makes sense. Also, the fish are there. That makes it feel a little watery. Meanwhile, the second one is an achievement in a couple of ways. Not like, well, the design is good too, but also, check out its name, first off. Yes, this is Coastal Cup. A racetrack tropical world. This is Palm Tree Pre. It's in a rhyme and an alliteration. And also, I took the desert theme and hid the pyramids. gimmick here, one of the gimmicks is that there's all these, like, starting lines, that those guys are waiting behind, and that tells you what direction they go in. Also, I got some, like, some of those pipes, which are very, like, Mario Brothers 3 construction, I think. You know, like, 1-1 of Mario Brothers 3 has, like, those pipes situation. Also, Mecha Koopas get crushed by the thing, by the guys. I think that's just a fun little detail there, that those guys are just, like, constantly crushing those fellas. Here, you gotta, like, jump up on that guy? And one final race here. We did it! Oh, look at this. Isn't this harrowing? It is harrowing. Yes. You liked that. I liked that too. This, I mentioned earlier that we should talk about, like, which levels need to be in the trailer. This level needs to be in the trailer for a couple reasons. Theming, originality, I think it's definitely a cool one, and, important. Next up, one of the levels, the Super World's few pure water levels. This is basically a pure water level. The top side is in, like, a jungle forest, and the underside is a, you know, just a regular-ass reef. And the main gimmick of this is that, there's all these, like, speed boosters, which help you swim faster, which is fun. There's also a little bit of an illusion in here, similar to Frosted Forest, where, like, I, in some cases, warp you somewhere different, rather than, like, where you're seeing directly, and, create an illusion of the place that you think you're going. Thus making it so that, it feels a little bit more boxy, rather than, like, the actual way that a vertical stage is. Also, you got these, like, transition things, which are just basically, like, my version of, like, a barrel transition, you know? It's just there to be fancy. Hey, this part is right out of, DKC3's, 3-1, Barracuda Barricade? Is that it? I forget what those guys are called, the Barracuda guys, but, if they're called Barracudas or something else, but, Baza's Blockade, something like that? That's that. Also, you can see there that, the previous room I was in looked like it was up there, but it actually wasn't. So that I could have two screens of running there. Just a little extra running there for that part. What the hell? Why did misogyny? Piranha? Piranha is misogyny? That's allowed. You're allowed to say piranha. The auto mod caught the word piranha on charges of misogyny. Falsely accused. That's talking about the piranha creepers, who are very cool and, you know, make fun obstacles for this level. I've never heard that as a thing. The level ends with a little bit of an out-of-water session, which, again, was also inspired by DKC3, how its underwater levels end with a out-of-water transition bit, which I thought was, you know, just a cute way to end a level, basically. Just a cute way to, end a level. And a bit of fun as well. Okay, we're on to the next level. It is Coastal Cup 4, Igneous 500. Yeah, that is cool bet with the thwomps. Igneous 500, which I hope you like the name. It kind of has a racetracky feel, doesn't it? And igneous, that's lava. It's a volcano level. You can sort of see here outside. We're on the like the outside of a volcano with a bunch of slopes and stuff. And Now that we're in the volcano, we can fly around and race the lava a little bit. Though, like, realistically, we're not gonna fall behind. You know, try as I might to make it so that it was kind of a race, it's kind of just always going to be dead easy to, you know, outpace it, unless you really, really, really delay the player, you know? But yeah, you got that rising lava level stuff. You also got this, like, shell stuff where, you know, you can use a spin jump if you want. Another one of the gimmicks here is that, like, these Goombas are just, like, spewing forth out of the pipes on parachutes and all. Thought that'd be a fun way to, like, represent, you know, a little bit of the lava-ness. Also, Potobos with indicators. Wait, there's nothing down there, right? That looks so suspicious. I didn't put something down there? No, I didn't. Okay. That looks so suspicious. Well, I guess with all those guys spawning, it's difficult. There's like a tiny little survival section here. A tiny little one, and then you're allowed to go. And here, those guys clear the way for you to fly down. Then you can fly up and, you know, also get the 30 coin while you're at it. I guess you have to abandon the cloud if you do it that way, but, you know, that's life. You're gonna go to bed, Lord Bowser? See you later, Lord Bowser. One last 10 on these slopes that spike balls roll down. There's also, you know, obviously the piranha plant. There's so much in every level. It's hard to, fully describe it. Yeah, lava is so slow. You know, it can only be so much of a threat. And, you sort of have to make it so that, you know... The other thing is that the 10 coins, you know, I have 10 coins and 30 coins as optional objectives. If you stall to get those, the lava has to be still fair. So, you know, it's easy to outstrip. Finally, we have Sunshine Scramble, which sort of addresses a lack that the race car world had. You might have noticed that the 3D world level didn't have the fucking Mario Kart carts in them. The cars. I put the cars in this level as an obstacle you cannot ride because you cannot land after you start this level, which I think is kind of fun. And kind of funny to have them as obstacles. Enough said, I guess. Also, Bullet Bill helmets. The two types of flying helmets get used, one after the other, and it's just a very quick little air level. Real quick little flying level. Next. It's time for World 6, Unmoored Mines. Unmoored Mines. We're about to pass the 1 hour mark. So yeah, I guess this will take maybe like an hour and a half, maybe upwards of 2 hours, depending on how these last 3 worlds go, but maybe 145. Unmoored Mines is sort of an odd duck. It has a lot of unusual levels, that are a little weird, and that was sort of the idea. It's a little bit Lovecraftian in like, The Thing, you know, I'm kind of inspired by, like, the likes of the literal Lost World from Donkey Kong Country 2, yes. Things like Earthbound's underground area. Things like that. You can see in this first level, you get the power-up, the Super Mario Bros. 2 power-up, and you avoid Phanto in a very Super Mario 2-esque way, which is a bit fun. I should drink, yes. I don't have Hydrate, of course, but, I'll do that. That's a good idea. I don't think I've drinked all hour, you're right. Here you sort of have to dig to get under. Here, there's a neat bit of design. That, on-off is on when you spawn, So when you come back, or when you spawn from this checkpoint, you fall onto the platform and it's there, but you have to jump over a pit to activate it when you get to it in real time. There's all these nice little survival sequences where you have to dodge the mushrooms, the Fanto and chain chomps and other nonsense. I just thought that was fun and a good way of, like, you know, getting some use out of Fanto, as well as, you know, a lot of those things are the only places where they appear in the super world. Fanto, those like poison mushrooms, not dry bones, but like, you know, there's some unique crap here, damn it. And then you have to climb out. It's good, it's cool, and it remains the one time I've used, this power-up, the one time I've used, like, the Super Mario Bros. 2 Mario. I recently changed this level so that the checkpoint, you have to go there necessarily, so that you can't just accidentally miss it. That's just cleaner design, you know, and safer, and, such. Just safer, just cleaner, just nicer. And, for all those reasons, I think it was a good idea. Here you can jump over those mushrooms or dig under. I like the, how the choice is up to you. There's also multiple ways of getting this 50 coin. Like, you can throw a guy or jump on that dude. You can do a bunch of things. Ooh, one more coin here. Let's do it. Have we only died once? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I think that is an acceptable time loss. You know. This is the one time in which the super world diverges and lets you pick between one level and another level. And the idea here is that the one on the left is a little bit more difficult, and the one on the right is a little bit more puzzly. Of course, we will do them both. Here. Tonight. This is Pipeline Panic. It's a rising and falling lava level, though it's not lava, it's muck. There's also some fuzzy beetles dropping on you. There's those fellas, the bloopers, giving you a hard time. There's a visual indicator of how high the muck goes, and sometimes you can do some nonsense to get over the muck, by, like, playing good, by, like, jumping off bloopers and such, which I think is a bit of fun to incentivize. We have to go down there to get, a big coin, so let's do that. I like this bit that's just like, you know, not all times the muck is relevant, and in cases like that, there's just a whole little sequence there where you're above the lava the whole time, but it's still a bit of fun, just like dodging a bunch of, like, buzzy beetles all at once. Also, you can retrieve this buzzy beetle to get a... Well, now I need it. Fuck. Well, I'll show it off on the next life. That's 2 deaths. That's 2 deaths. This first platform, by the way, is to give the fishes time to, get to their positions. They're all like synchronized from the start of the level, and are delivered to their spots by thing. Also, when you do that thing, you can get a fire flower earlier than you otherwise could, and that lets you kill those fishes that otherwise can't be killed, because they're, like, enshrined in muck. Yeah, death too, indeed, indeed. Yikes, 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 that's tough. Damn it! Okay, last bit here, just literally jump over some dudes, and you're good. I didn't know you could get this spring, but that's fine. It's not like having a spring lets you do anything in particular that's like really evil. I'll say I don't think this level is like super duper 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 hard. I just think that if you're a little bit impatient, it can be a very difficult time. A little bit of impatience can really screw you over on this one. Cases like that one, and even like the Super Mario Bros. 2 level, a lot of my inspiration was like, okay, I gotta do a level that makes use of this mechanic. I gotta do a rising and falling tide level. And, you know, that was it. And, you know, worked from there. Bogus Boudoir is very much a ghost house. That was very much the inspiration, very much the idea, very much the, like, the main impotence, right? Like, just, I want to make a ghost house, solve puzzles, sub-puzzles, and progress. And the main thing to know is that the key doors is always where you need to go. You need to get a key, and to do that, you'll need to go and get some items and use them in places. And, you know, here's a fun fact for you. They're all loops. So, you know, you'll see after midway into this one, right? That, like, oh, after you go into this next door, after you go into this next pipe, you end up back where you started. Back here. And, you know, you take this pipe, or, fuck, you take this, spring, you use it here, you can get this POW. I wonder if you can grab one of these springs like you could in the previous level. Is that possible in 3D World? If so, then you could totally shortcut a little bit here. You're also supposed to very much like first think like, okay, I use these springs to get over the guy, but you know, there's a second purpose. Also, you look to your left there, and the room changes entirely after you leave it. That's just a little bit of a ghost house flourish, you know. Here, the way forward is blocked because that guy's gonna, you know, die every time he sees you. So you can't actually progress until you do something about that. Now, how do you do something about that, you ask? Well, first off, the key is to come over here and hit this bomb. And that's gonna break open this wall. And then it's very good that you don't just jump in there because there's totally a bullet bill that opens the wall the rest of the way. Spawns in, you know? And you get a, one of these, and those moving blocks go back and forth. And you have to deal with them while dealing with enemies, like bees. Ghosts. Things of that nature. This level is probably one of the longest ones in the Super World, honestly, you know, on account of you have to go through some of these loops like multiple times, and that's the reason why I wanted it to be skippable, you know, just in case, like, you're really bored by this. Here, it looks like you're supposed to jump in there, but the bonsai actually opens up a path behind you, which I think is cute. Also, it returns you to a later place in the loop, which is also cute. Some cute business here. Also, you have the key, you have a Goomba. That's all you need to get into here. Final sequence here. At the end of the whole level, this level becomes a, reverse, Squeals on Wheels. You are now proceeding upward through the level you just went through, following a bullet bill up to the end. And, yes, this final sequence was very much inspired by exactly everything that happens at the end of Squeals on Wheels. Especially the part where you have to get a parry over a, like, a buzz or something. That's very much why that boo is there. Just as a bit of a fun nod to that. A fun nod to that level. Similar sort of ending. The final full-on proper level of World 6 of Unmoored Mines is the Super World's only full-on, entirely auto-scroller. You can see it has this very nice, like, you know, do super theming and stuff, and it moves kind of fast. My intention was very much to make this one like a, also, fire bars were like the only time in the super world. My intention was to make this one very much like a minecart level, you know, kind of hard to keep up with. You know, kind of like, keep you on your toes, you know? Not give you a time to breathe, not give you time to, like, fall behind, you know? Also have some parts where there's, like, raindrops coming down on you, which I thought were, nice theming-wise. And then there's the twist in the second half! Yo, check this out! It's an upside-down level. And, now it's, you know, because you can't have custom scrolls in subworlds, it moves at full speed, and, full speed scroll while upside down, well, that just, makes otherwise, what would be otherwise pretty basic platforming into somewhat harrowing. Also, you got this crap where you have to jump even though the on-offs are not, visibly on until you pass a certain point. Like, you literally have to jump over the fire bars before they turn on in that second case. Finally, one more bit of evilness. Platforming above the stage. I say above the stage, more like below the stage, but I say this every time I play this level, and then I do it on stream. But, like, it's very fun to me to just force the player to not be able to see themselves for this, last part of this level. Just, you're kind of blind. Kind of flying a little blind. Finally, you return here, and, because of on-off stuff, you're allowed to proceed to the end. Yeah, it is kind of a wonder effect, isn't it? It's worth noting, this level predated Wonder, right? Yeah, Wonder was Wonder last year? Or was Wonder the year before? Year before, yeah. End of 2023. I think this was, like, mid-2023, if I had to guess, but, you know, feel free to double-check that. This whole world kind of has, like, a Wonder-type vibe, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Again, unintentional. It was planned for years before, for ages before it was announced. In this level, you can't take damage, and you have to swim through some pretty scary business. And like all the other, like, levels of this sort, it can be done in 20 seconds. It's just a little bit difficult to do. Also, we gotta get every power-up, so, you know, jot that down. Oh, we need that, we need that, we need that. Don't expire, don't expire. Good, okay. You need to get the star so you can get through the piranha plants. That's very important. Good, good. I managed to use dark water there. I also managed to use, the castle water there. Both of which I think are very nice themes, and I'm glad they're featured in the Super World. That was Stygian Swim. Finally, it's time for the quote-unquote final world. Originally the final world, anyway. This world is sort of the final world in, like, the DKC2 sense, you know, like, not counting the Lost World. This is where you fight Bowser for the first time. This is a big finale. This is Koopaverse. It's a space world. It's a space world, and I can't remember if this is the galaxy music or if this is just the music that plays in this archetype of a 3D world. Either way, it's fitting. what I think the other levels at least have galaxy music, even if this one doesn't. This is 3D World, okay. The gimmick of this one is it's a red coin collection level where you, it's Arsenal Antics is the level. I should say what the name of the level is because that makes it pretty clear what its inspiration was. Animal Antics. In the same way, except this one is more Mario Maker-y, insofar as you have to go through 5 different gauntlets filled with a variety of enemies. One thing about the enemies is that they are... Each enemy is used in multiple areas, but no one area has the same combination of enemies. I just thought that was interesting to do it that way. You fly up, and you do that one. Easy, easy, easy. I think there's like 5 enemies in total that are used by this level. 5 main types in this first, in these 5 rooms. That are sort of mixed up every way, with every one of these. Wonder is like a year and a half old at this point. Here in this one, there are these passive threats that can hurt you. And then if you get hurt, those guys are going to, you know, start attacking, which makes it a little more dangerous. That's the idea there. Ooh, ooh. The bullet bill area, very nice. I like this part where you fly between the dudes. That's just really fun to me. Just flying between those two potobos just feels so good. That just feels so damn good. Final room here. This one uses the POW helmet. Uses it, you know, in ways where you can kill some guys, and also some ways where you're like, oh, if you hit the ceiling there, you're gonna die. So, you know, a little bit of restraint. I thought that was fun to mix in as a bit of a design thing. Here, now that you got all the coins, you get a key, and that means that the on-off is toggled, and the way to the end is opened. And yes, you got all those rooms, but now you got a final sequence where you have to go through all the helmets in a row, and each area has one of those 5 enemies, and also bullet bills as an additional, like, fly in the ointment. Bonsai bills. I guess there's 4 because there's 4 enemies because there's not one for the POW helmet. The POW helmet just has the honor of opening the way to the ending at the end. I guess there's 4, okay. I was basing the number of enemies off of, you know, how many pieces of headwear there are, but maybe that's not quite it. I don't know. And again, if each of the worlds has a different mix of things, how can that... Not important. Not important. Oh, maybe potobos don't come up during the final sequence. Maybe that's it. Finally, we have a choice here, and I thought this was a really cool way to do the space world, insofar as, like, yeah, you got, like, a water level, a desert level, and an ice level, and they're all, like, sort of presented as, like, celestial bodies. We'll go in the order I made them, and the order in which they're numbered. This is Koopaverse 2, Cold Ice Comet. This level, pretty clear inspiration. That would be Ramby Rumble. Mostly insofar as I wanted to do a level where the first half was going up and the second half was going down. You know, very much like Ramby Rumble from DKZ2. But different in most other ways, I guess. I mean, it does reuse the stuff that was sort of... It does have sort of like, the climbable walls, just like the beehive level from earlier in the Super World, so it kind of has that going for it again. Except this time they're like ice walls. I guess you're doing like a Chilla cameo Elements of Power situation here. But yeah, very much like beehive inspired, and also was an opportunity to get some Lakitu in here, who otherwise, don't exactly feature in the Super World. Sadly. They're kind of a hard enemy to use. They were used in a boss fight, which, you know, is a place, but not like, you know, I also wanted to use them in a level. Also, this is very much a level where sliding is encouraged. This is a level where you get to slide a lot, especially on this big downhill part, which also has snake blocks as like a, you know, a thing where you land on a thing and the next platform is built before you, sort of like a, Preamble, Scramble, Tropical Freeze style situation. Ooh. And there we go. I'm gonna use my shortcut here. There's a shortcut in this level that is a little risky, but you can pass through those bounties and save a little bit of time on the final portion. Finally, there's this Super World's one use of the P-Balloon in this very last ending. And I gotta get these 50s, so line it up, and there we go. Whew. That one's really good. Really great. Next up, we have, Next up, we've opened now. You know, once you do one of them, you've opened the way to the final level of this world of Koopaverse. But we're gonna do all three of the options. So here's Koopaverse 3, Meteor Meltdown. A very well themed level, a very cool level, and mainly known. It was a big opportunity to use Magic Koopas, who otherwise don't feature in the Super World. This is their one level. And also, there's these claws, there's some blue plat business, there's some claws, there's some blue plat business, and also, you know who makes an appearance? It's Yoshi! That's right, Yoshi's back again. Lovely. We all love Yoshi. With the previous appearance of the claws, the gimmick was that you, landed in them and threw things into them. In this case, I wanted to make a level where the claws were holding things and dropping them on you. That sort of deal, and that's the major differentiating factor here between this level and, like, you know, the one in World 3. I do believe, a big belief that I have is that every level should have, like, their own unique ideas, unique feel. They should be distinct and stuff. It also has some, like, key door business. I do wonder which level is going to be fastest to do, if you just do one of them, if you just do, like, any percent style, which, I've already decided we're not gonna do. We're not gonna, like, play it multiple times or nothing tonight. Instead, I'm going to end after I finish. Nice little red coin room there. Felt like it was, it's been a while since the last one of those in the Super World. That was in, the first half of, Red Girder Gala. Now have it in the second half of a level. And, in a little tight little room there, which is just a really nice little sequence that goes by fast. There's also crushers. Did you notice the crushers? There were crushers in that level. Again, with these levels aren't long enough to explain everything that goes into them. Koopaverse 4, Abyssal Asteroid, a water level that took a lot of iteration to get right. Originally, I wanted to do this as a hybrid water level where the idea was it was like DKC2 style. Like, I have a previous level called Farron Floodway that used like a gimmick to make it feel like Donkey Kong Country 2 style, like rising and falling water level. Sort of makes the illusion that you're in the same space and makes the water level like fill the space you were just in after you go through a pipe. But you know, this is a bit different insofar as it is one half water level and one half low gravity level, which you know, I guess is important to have in your space world, a low gravity level, you know. And I guess I could say, like, yeah, low G labyrinth is maybe a motivator, is maybe like a influence here then, but moreover, it was just like a product of like a good fit. The main thing I discovered here making this level was like, oh, you know, the Hammer Brothers, right? When they throw their hammers in water, they are really slow and thus can be like dodged through, you know. Like, you could see some of those, like, there's just, like, a bunch of goddamn Hammer Brothers here. And, like, because the hammers move slowly, it's not that scary. It's not that bad. And that's true in the low gravity and the water bits as well. There's also some really nice routing here. And, hey, look, it's some Mecha Koopas. Some laser Mecha Koopas. Hell yeah, it's fun to swim between those. It's fun to swim around those. Things of that nature. Also, you're just like bouncing up like chains of like dry bones here. Boop, 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 boop. And you know, making your way up one at a time. Huge laser sequence. I love this room. You run through it, you climb up here, you activate an on-off, and by the time you're falling down, like a bunch of bouncy guys have spawned, meaning that you have to like bounce around them to get through. And the trick is that some of those come out of pipes, the rest of them just spawn because they need to be below you, like when you get there. You know, they're just being prevented from spawning by the red blocks. But some of them are made to come out of the pipe, so, you know, it's a bit of an illusion. Secret! This is a really good secret, isn't it? Isn't it? One of the best. I remember I did once submit this level to someone, you know, someone else doing viewer levels, you know what I mean. And I did have some delight when they were like, wait a minute, and went down and got that. In that last room, worth noting, there are some, like, Hammer Brothers that are a little bit recessed. You know, sort of in very low platforms compared to the ones above them. That's so that it's harder to hit your fireball with them. Also, those guys there to make it so that the top of the flagpole is hard to get, even though it's a water level. You know, you sort of have to, like, swim through a gap and then shoot your way to it. Or just, you know, maneuver really good if you don't have a fire flower. I wanted to make a water level that didn't rely on any sort of acceleration, and I think I succeeded in Abyssal Asteroid. It's not accelerated, it's slow as hell, it still works. And it's still super fun. And I'm so proud of that, considering that my go-to is always just to speed things up when it comes to water levels. Just like, put down some conveyor belts, speed boosters, let's go. Something else, like focus on up or down, the frog suit. You know, and that's just a slow-paced water level, and it's good. This is Near Do Nebula. It's the sort of the big finale of the super world, in like the Donkey Kong Country 2 first K. Rool fight sense. You sort of go through this smoky cloud nebula situation, and you fight all the Koopalings, and they're each killable in one hit. You don't have to kill them, but I'm going to because it's fun. It's fun to do. Shit. Good, okay. A little bit here, a little bit fraught there. This checkpoint is set up in such a way, by the way, so that if you spawn from it, you have to go a little bit farther than you do on the first try. Just to, like, give you a little bit of a breather before you go back in and fight Bowser again. But, yeah. Here, Bowser's boss fight right here is, based around... It's because they're submerged into the wall. Part of their, like, they're like, overlapping it, so that when they, get hit and get released from the track, they're, like, in a place where they cannot be, so they just instantly die. Here, the big inspiration... Wow, okay, fuck, what the hell. Never seen that before. The big inspiration here was Baron K. Rulenstein, that boss fight from the end of Donkey Kong Country 3, where you know, it's a bunch of various little phases where you go above and over and, you know, past K. Rool, doing some stuff to damage him bit by bit. And that's the case for the first bits. Also, there's a checkpoint there, and if you respawn from the checkpoint, a new Bowser is spawned. This level recently got some revisions to make it so that both of the power-ups below the stage are shells, because you lose shells first. So if you've taken any damage, you can almost always use a shell, whereas you wouldn't be able to say that of a mushroom necessarily. This is like the rare case where we lost mushroom and shell and did a thing. Finally, you get a fire flower and a Yoshi, which gives you everything you need to finish the boss fight. Jesus, Yoshi, slow down, let me catch you. Yoshi, are you... There we go. This is gonna be somewhat tough. Oh, fuck. Okay, here we go, here we go. We gotta fire enough rounds up. Nice. Fire enough rounds into him with Yoshi. It's easier if you manage to keep the fire flower and can use that, because the fire flower does blasts of 3, and if you hit every hit, it's like 2 Yoshi blasts to kill. But it's a bit slower when you don't have that. You can also just continue going back and forth if you want, but that feels a little riskier. There's one final little escape sequence, which is just a little bit of a cute bit. Don't worry about it. And then there's the ending. Beautiful. And that's like your K. Rool fight. You say we're doing the first K. Rool fight, the first Bowser fight, at around an hour and a half. Okay, that's a good like baseline there. We got 5 levels left, folks, and I guess it's worth noting that, like, because 5 of the previous worlds ended with, like, short levels, those worlds were a bit shorter on average, but the 7th world and the 8th world are both 5 full levels, like, start to finish, and, you know, probably the last level is maybe one of the longest levels in the Super World, so we'll see that in a bit. Another death. That's third one? Third one. This is bonus Biome, by the way. This is sort of my, like, Lost World equivalent. You know, literally a bonus biome. A biome that's sort of a bonus. It's Sky, specifically. It's a Sky world, and, you know, kind of gets in some last hard-ass ideas that I had, like, you know, that I needed to do. Like, there was no Link level previously, there was no Sun level previously, so here it is, the Link Sun level. It's also a bounty level where the bounties have like munchers on either side, so if you land incorrectly, you're messed up. Also, it becomes a platform level in the second half. One of those ones where the platforms move, along the lava. Where the platforms move along the lava, and, you know, you gotta deal with the sun, whilst also bullet bills and, other type things. I put in a second spike helmet to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more reasonable. I hope that helps people clear this one more than with the first iteration that didn't have that. Shit, I lost my thing. We need to get every 10 coin, which unfortunately means that without Link, we can't get the last 10 coin, so we have to restart. We have to take a loss there. I need to be more careful with my Link here. Very important in like one of the few cases where a power-up is required to do a thing. So, a little bit of a time loss. I'll say, like, this time doesn't have to be, like, the most competitive time in the world. In fact, I think, like, you know, I just want this time to be something for people to shoot for, and, you know, aim for as, like, a par, as, like, a basic estimate. And the fact is, like, you know, I've played these levels so many times, like, I'm probably one of the best in the world. Probably the best in the world at the Super World, right? Like, I can't imagine someone's played it more than I have. So, like, a death or two here is gonna make the time a little more reasonable, I think. Feature it in the trailer? Yeah, the whole gimmick is that, like, you know, it's Waluigi's triple threat, right? The whole gimmick is that Waluigi has a time for you. Like, Waluigi is racing you to the end of the game, and Waluigi's time is gonna be my time here. It's gonna be the time that we set here. You know? Here's the time. Maybe we'll add, like, 5 minutes or so. You know, honestly, maybe it makes sense to add a little time, because, like, you know... Because, like, my time is gonna be pretty damn good, I think, all things considered, you know? Even with 4 deaths, it's gonna be pretty damn good. Do we want a time that people can, like, first try, or do we want to try a time that, like, stands the test of ages, or is, like, tough to do? I don't know, we'll think about that. Here's, Ripsaw Rainbow, where the concept is that they are tearing down a rainbow, so it's all in pieces. There's, like, solid bits of rainbow everywhere, as well as these lovely rainbow semi-solids. I wanted to do a level... Yeah, round it up. Okay, we'll round up. Maybe it'll be like 2 hours on the dot or something. Or like 1:55. Oh, well. Fifth death, okay. Ripsaw Rainbow. Ripsaw Rainbow, is a very fun level. It is a flying level with the flying in the first half, and then the second half goes in a different direction. And I wanted to make a level where the gimmick was that it's flying, but it's, oh, you can actually just go like this. You don't have to go the long way. That's news to me. I didn't know you could just do that directly. Where the gimmick is that, it's based around, like, cases where you can, like, jump out of your craft rather than, like, you know, engage in dogfighting using, like, fireballs and all that. You know, like, here, these guys are here, they fire the thump, you use B to jump off, and then you can, steal their clown cars. I wanted to build more around, like, just jumping out versus, like, the usual just fireball, 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 and I think the result is a cool level that is a bit... that is fair and balanced and good and fun. What do you want? Good level. And, you know, I wanted to do a level for a while with the rainbows, and for a while the difficulty was, like, how am I going to, like, break this up? Like, if it's a flying level, how am I going to, like, get some solids in here? Clouds? That's just not gonna look as good as anything else. And then the idea of, like, rainbow pipes came up during... Maybe during a live stream. That might have been during a live stream, even. And once that idea was in, it was gold. You also got these weird bully guys who are coming after you, these Potobos in clown cars. There's skull carts is the major thing in the second half. Oh, don't include seconds? Gotcha. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Not sure how much to round it up. A thing here is that guy gets... sequestered if you don't kill him, and he ends up below that pipe such that he cannot fire his spikes. We are having some most of our deaths are here in the bonus world, which, you know, I'll say, I think that's fair. It's the hardest world, it is the last world, and, the last world is, you know, supposed to be the hardest world, so I call that a success. I call that a success myself. A successful difficulty curve. You know, I mentioned earlier in the first couple worlds, like, oh, I did these things to try to keep the difficulty lower in the first couple worlds while still being thrilling and challenging and stuff, and have the feeling of difficulty. See, there he gets sequestered in there. Still have the feeling of difficulty. You know, in these later levels, I didn't really, like, do anything particular to make them harder. They just sort of ended up a little bit harder, I guess. You know, I had some challenging, scary, hard ideas that can be difficult, can be a mite bit difficult. That's Ripsaw Rainbow. Now, with the previous two levels, you've seen a castle in the clouds, like a Zelda-style temple-type situation, Sunburned Sanctuary, and you also saw a rainbow being demolished. And it's time for a cloud level. It's time for a level that's just fucking clouds. It's pokey pressure. The gimmick here... And, by the way, like, the last level... Fuck. The last level was kind of inspired by, like, Swoopy Salvo. You know, Squawks levels where the Squawks is in the first half. Kinda wanted to make one of those myself. Lightly, loosely inspired. This one... more original than anything. Was a while until I figured out, like, what this one was gonna be, or, like, what the, big idea of it was, but basically it's a, icicle level, where you're, platforming off icicles. Also, there's, like, pokies parachuting down, and, like, giving you a hard time. That's sort of the gimmick. A lot of pokies everywhere, just like, being threatening. Also... again! Also, you have to use some skill if you want to get a boot. These boots are a little bit tricky to get, and I guess I don't have the knack for them right now. Maybe we should play it safe and just skip boots. They're not mandatory. Also, some of the pipes, like the pipes in, Mario Brothers 3, you know, an up pipe and a down pipe. Doing some of those again, because I think they're cool. I also love here that, like, by the time the icicles are falling on you, that's when the next set of icicles is respawning. So it's pretty clean in that way. There we go. Here, you can either run under, and that's viable, but if you want to get the thing, you gotta wait, or otherwise, you know, get it early, so it's a little different. The major addition in the second half are these, bullet bills. Bullet bills get added. Red ones, you know? And, otherwise, it's just kind of more challenging business. Icicles... pokies, things falling on you, a platforming path that crumbles after you pass through it. Pretty quick-like. And, these guys are just free. Free shoes, the hair. I don't make you work for it in that case. It's just, made more sense for it to be free. Gotta get that 10. I thought making some interesting patterns from, like, the descending guys was a cool thing from the pokies. Also, there's some stuff like this where it's just like, yeah, run under the pokies. There's fucking tons of them. Watch out. Alright. That's Pokey Pressure. Hell of a good level. And, you know, one of the last ones to come up with, you know? Like, all these other levels, most of them were in the process as, like, something, at least a name, like Ripsaw Rainbow or Sunburned Sanctuary, Zelda plus Sun, or, like, Rainbow something. Pokey Pressure was the one where I didn't have an idea, and I went in with no idea, and eventually a level came out. This one, though, isn't like that. This is, Dimlit Derelict, which is a dark level. Originally, it was supposed to have an outside section where you got to see that it was an airship, right? But I decided eventually just like, no, it needs to be entirely a dark level. No airship at all. And you can just understand that, like, you know, you can just infer the existence of airship out there. It's a, what's the word? It's a loopy lights. You hit the balloons that are bouncy, the tires, right? And that lights up the screen for a brief time, during which you can see. That part's much easier if you know that box is there and you can go under the Goombas. That's one of the things that's kind of a fun little bit of difficulty added in the dark. Also, there's like enemies coming out of pipes repeatedly, sort of a Misty Mine situation. A lot of these levels in the last world were kind of low-key inspired by later levels of Donkey Kong Country. Like, now that I mention it, Clobber Carnage was an inspiration for Sunburned Sanctuary, actually. You know, a funny, different kind of platform level where you ride in a cannon rather than a something normal. Did I get the coin there? I'm not sure, but I think I did. I did get the coin there that you get. Really can't tell at this point, but whatever. This is also the only time that invisible blocks are used as gameplay in the super world, which I think is a cool little bit, and gives a really threatening little Rocky Wrench part that's kind of low-key scary. The second half has a little bit of, like, Toxic Tower in it. You know, kind of a lot of, like, Final World inspiration in this one. In this one here, especially. What happens if you press L or R? I'm not sure. Maybe it switches worlds or something. It might be because it's my super world and not someone else's. Maybe I have, like, some sort of admin ability to, like, go back or forth and whatever. I'm pretty sure that you just have to move on, like vanilla style. It's time for the last level. Woo. Playtime Palace, the one that finished development, like, 2 weeks ago. Week and a half ago, which is kind of one of the more stuffed levels in the super world. It is a toy box level. The main gimmick is like you ground pound down like, you know, wooden crates and hits exclamation point blocks. Also, a fun thing to note here is that yellow blocks are a big part of it, and yellow blocks were also a big part of the first level of the super world. Isn't that interesting how it all wraps around? Bullies, Potobos coming out of pipes, Goombas, big Goombas with wings. There's a couple rooms with these spiky guys who are just sort of, you know, a nuisance. A fun nuisance. No! Saved it. This first part of this level is kind of unique. Insofar, it's the only one. It's the only one where there's only one mushroom in the first half of the level. No second power-up or nothing. I figured that was a way to, like, escalate the difficulty a little. Also, it makes this unique gimmick that it has, where it gives you your choice of power-ups. Actually, let's go with this one, because it gives you access to a slightly different route. You have your choice of power-ups. And, fuck. Well, whatever. You get a second one on your way back when you're in there a second time. And, you know, later in the level. Between the final checkpoint and the end. So keep that in mind. There's the blue plant guys. Those make an appearance. A lot of this level, honestly, when it comes right down to it, was me going like, okay, I got like a handful of things I didn't use anywhere in any of the other 3D World levels, so let me see if I can fit them in here. Boxes, check. Blue like blinky blocks, blue moving blocks, check. On and off spikes, like red and blue business, check. Bullies, check. Clear pipes, check. Flying spikes with the spikes and all. They fire their spikes and stuff. Check, check, check. You know, I basically managed to get everything that hadn't gotten used in the Super World off in this finale, and that just felt good. With the exception of blinking blocks, and, you know, I originally wanted you to have a car that you rode, but, it doesn't matter. That's kind of a crap thing anyway. You know, it's kind of a garbage, move anyway, riding the car. It's actually better that there's no car riding in the Super World. I'm not confident I could make a good car level. I don't think anyone can. I don't know that anyone has. Has anyone made a good car level? Let's be honest here. Maybe that 10 coin is a little easy. I kind of feel funny that that's the last 10 coin in the Super World. Just sort of happened like that. But, you know, it's fine. It's fun to collect. And then you got a couple little tutorial bits where it teaches you, like, oh, hit the block from below to do an on-off. Use POWs to kill. And here in the final boss, you have to, like, hit the exclamation point block enough times to unlock these POW blocks that spawn and let you kill Bowser. Then you can use them to, like, kill the Goombas as well, and that clears up the final room, which has some Chardvards in it for taste. Time! 1:53:22. Yeah, that could either be 1:55 or a flat 2 hours. What do you think? What should the par time be? Flat 1:55 or 2 hours on the dots? It's basically 2 hours is about how long it takes me to do this Super World. It turns out, 1:53 sounds less artificial though. True, that's true, yeah. Or 1:54, you know, rounding up, because I did use part of the 54th minute. It does sound less artificial if it's an actual time. I could add 5 minutes. It could be 1:58. 1:58 could be the par time. What do you think of that? We'll discuss it more on Friday. I'll say, like, I don't know I have time to, like, do a trailer this week, you know. I am planning to do a, Super World stream later, not a Super World stream. I'm planning to do the Direct later this week, so, like, might be low-key kind of a busy week, isn't it? Isn't it gonna be a busy week? It's gonna be kind of a busy week. Cool. That was really good. That's a hell of a Super World. I am proud of just about every level. I feel like more talk could have been done, like, per level as far as, like, inspiration goes. Like, I don't know how many we even mentioned direct inspirations. Though I guess in a lot of cases, like, my most Donkey Kong Country directly inspired levels were, like, before the Super World, and by the time I was getting into the Super World, I was, like, you know, at a loss for, like, what levels really to pull from, you know? Like, oh, I've already done a Squawk Shaft, but I'll do another Squawk Shaft. I've already done, like a doorstop dash. Not gonna do another doorstop dash, but for the super world. You know, so long as the ideas work and they're fun, I'm happy with them. One last thing before we end here, which is that I would like to pull up Google Docs on my phone here and show you the document. This is the last segment. Ooh, let me become big and pull up the phone, which has the original, I guess the original title was like 2 because I was like, okay, it was gonna be, I forgot that I originally had 2 next to it. Because originally it was supposed to be like a follow-up to my Mario Maker 1 Super World, which I never actually finished. I only got 4 worlds in before I, ended up stopping playing Mario Maker for a while. But, yeah, let's look here. You can see here all the levels color-coded based on what theme they are. And, some other ideas, and here's a chart of game versus theme combination. So I was trying to hit any gaps, which obviously I didn't do. Obviously there are still definitely like combinations that don't exist in the super world, but I'm still really happy. Girders were used. There were not slowly falling piranha plants. That's a thing that didn't get in there. There's some scattered ideas for like... I'll say, I do have an idea right now, which is that... Honestly, like, part of me would like this to have been a surprise, but... The other day, I did, like, make some copies, or make some, like, empty versions, and the idea was like, okay, can I make, like, spin-offs of the Super World levels that are, like, bonus versions of those levels? Like, if you played a DKC game, like a DKC 2, like a bonus level of one of these stages, and try to make it work. And you see there I've saved, like, okay, here's Red Girder Gala, here's Frosted Forest, here's Crumble Rumble, one from each of each thing, each like version, and from the first 5 levels, Plunder Blunder as one of them. And I'm not sure, I'm not really feeling necessarily the impulse to like crank out 5 levels. It would be really fun if, like, at the end of the trailer was like, also, there's 5 bonus levels, and that was the first time anyone was finding out about that, and I was like, ooh, during the trailer I uploaded them sneakily, so they're out, they're actually out now. You know, that's the idea I had, but then I realized, like, I don't want to do that. That's a lot of work, in addition to making a trailer, you know? That's a lot of work, in addition to making a trailer. I have here like a list of each game's worlds or levels like picked out, and like bolded are the ones that are like probably worth featuring in like a generic context, right? Just like as gameplay stock footage. Also, I have some marked with pluses that are like, okay, this appears in a part of the script where it's like, oh, we have like short levels too, and we have boss levels. You know, they just get in because. And you know, the ones I guess that I bolded here, let's just run through them. Fossil Fracas has a unique theme to it, and I think it's quite nice. Red Girder Gala, unique theme as well. Abyssal Asteroid, I think with its swimming parts, is also novel, and has some really cool flashy bits to it. Frosted Forest is just excellent theming, and can do that big room with all the spine tops in it. Frigid Frigate, like I said, was one of my favorites. Definitely put in that area where you're running under the spikes. That would be cool in a trailer. Palm Tree Pre has excellent theming, and I think it can represent Coastal Cup really well. Crumble Rumble is just like one of the all-time best. As the first level that came together for the Super World, I think it stands out amongst their number, at least in my heart. So it definitely needs to be maybe even like the first game that the first level that gets shown. Honestly, Bonsai Bog, Smokestack Attack, I think those both qualify as well. Honeycomb Hollow with its unique theming. Grave Gauntlet with its messed up, upside down nonsense. I think that'd be a very fun little part of the trailer. And Meteor Meltdown, I think, is also a good inclusion for having some very unique theming. Automation Station has like one of the best gimmicks, mechanics in there. Plunder Blunder is one of the few levels where you go downwards. Snorkel Speedway with its like speed boost shenanigans. I think that's just a good showcase for like how the super world does water levels and makes them like more palatable. Those are some thoughts I have for the super world, or for the trailer for the super world. I'll also say, like, let me see here. Can I see the history? You see the history. You see the history on the details? Hey, you can see there it was created on 4/21/20. So yeah, it was created in 2020. You can see that I have edited a good deal since then. You know, it has changed a lot in the last year. I used to have a lot of comments, but I've resolved all of them. And, you know, each of them would have, like, the thoughts for each level. You know, I would put in ideas, and as time went on, I resolved them. And, you know, they're... I guess you can still look at them. Hey, look at that. Fuck that. The water power-up. Water level. Power-up is the balloon. Actually, fuck that. It's gonna be a 3D world level and feature the dash pads. This was at the end of 2021 that I figured that out. Cat Mario. No, fuck that! Bullet Bill hat! Swim up and down, in addition to left and right. Overworld is jungle. Subworld is water, but the whole level's underwater, except for the last part. Yeah, you can see that. You can see, like, the ideas coming together. As like, the comments get closer to the present. Isn't that interesting? Maybe this is the Clapper's Cavern level. Is that the only comment on, like, what the hell was that one on? Scroll, scroll, scroll. That was on Palm Tree Pre. No, that ended up on Pirates Peak 2. Was there no other comments on Palm Tree Pre? Maybe I made a different one at some point. Yeah, I closed that one and made a different one. Interesting. Yeah, you know. It's curious, all the thoughts, all the iteration that went into every level. You know, it was 4 years ago that this all got started, and it's finally done. And I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a hell of a super world, and I'm super happy with every level in it. And I hope you will be too. Go ahead, play through it. Have a good time. I'm gonna say 158 is the par time. Just under 2 hours is Waluigi's time. And I'll say that Waluigi time is getting all the 10 coins, 30 coins, 50 coins. That is Waluigi's handicap, you know? He sees money, he can't help but get it. He can't help but go grab it. As a regular person playing through it, you can ignore the 10 coins if you want. Hell, you can even do it any percent and skip like 3 whole levels, maybe, if you really want to leg up. If you really want to beat Waluigi properly, though, you gotta do it you gotta do all levels percent. You know. Let's pull up the old schedule. I think that's a stream. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. I hope you had a good time watching me play my own super world in full. That was fun. That was good. I enjoyed you know, going through it. I'm gonna get up early on Wednesday and do the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. I'm going to you know, stream it live and react to it. And you'll see my reactions to such things as the Switch 2, the new Mario 3D platformer if it appears, the new Mario Kart, which definitely will appear, another Metroid Prime 4 appearance, I assume. We'll probably see some stuff during the Wednesday stream. Let me see who I can send you to. Chadasius is doing viewer levels. I could send you there. That's probably pretty appropriate. a viewer level stream. That makes sense to me. That's very easy. I'm going to do other stuff tonight. I'm going to get the VOD up, and also there is some new anime I want to watch before bed, which is perfect because it's 10:30. It's not late at all. I can definitely watch all the new shows of anime that have started and watch all of the episodes of them that are available, which there's more than I expected there to be by now. I'll send you over there. That sounds good. Okay. I'll see you for the Switch Direct, and then after that, I will be, yeah, I watched the Unknown Altier. I watched that. That seems great. You want to hear what I think about the new anime that I just watched? Oh, okay, I can do that. Altier seems great. Seems fantastic. The Evil Space Lord show seems like Overlord, but for space. And it's very, very, very weird. I don't know about it yet. And I haven't watched the third one that's out now. Haven't, there's a third one. There's 3 of them, actually. Check on High Dive. High Dive has one. Crunchyroll has 2. One of them are aired early for some reason. There's 3 of them, I swear. One of them is an hour long. I wanted to watch it, and then I looked at it, it's like, oh crap, there's an hour until the stream. It's an hour long thing. Ah crap. Okay, well, whatever. Let's get going. Anyway, that's a lot of all to say. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that. I'll see you on Wednesday. Dear Lord, I'm gonna have to get up like at 7 o'clock in order to like get things set up and ready for that. Yeah, multiple of these new animes have like multiple episodes or hour-long runtimes. There's 3 episodes of that Space Lord one up now on Crunchyroll. It's a whole thing. I'll see you there for the Switch 2. Jeez, that's gonna be a whole thing. And then I'll see you on Friday for viewer levels as per always. Friday evening, viewer levels. Yeah, woo, fun, yay. Don't expect a trailer to be done by then, what with the direct and other things. You know, this week I'm gonna have to watch a lot of anime. I say I have to. I'm going to, because I want to. But, I don't know, I'm gonna find time for editing a trailer in that time. Eventually, I'll do a trailer. Maybe I'll make bonus levels before I do the trailer. That'd be a smart thing to do. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see ya on Friday, and I'll see ya on Wednesday as well, assuming I don't, like, get up too late or something. 90% sure I'm gonna do it. I'm free that morning. It's before work. It should be good. I'll see you then. Getting ready to stop the stream. Okay. See you on Wednesday, folks, and Friday. And I'll say next week, I might be getting LASIK sometime next week, so the random Rareware stream might be rescheduled to a week after. We'll see, though, how LASIK scheduling works out. And if I need that much time to recover, TBD, TBD, TBD. All that said, I'll see you when I see you. Bye, folks.